Hello guys, and welcome to today's vlog. Today we're on the beach in Taiwan, and you know what it means? It's vlog time, baby! Yeah! Alright. Alright. So I just found this this amazing beach resort in the north of Taiwan. It's the upper tip, and I just arrived a couple of hours ago. It was like a 1 hour bus ride. It was pretty sweet. I got to see a bit of the outskirts of Taipei because I've been staying for the last 4 days in the capital of Taiwan, called Taipei, and it's actually surrounded by New Taipei. New Taipei is not located to the west, to the east, or to the north. It's actually surrounding the whole city. So it can be a bit confusing when you're booking accommodation and you're booking in New Taipei and one is like 80 kilometers away from the other one. But hey, when you know it, it gets easier. What an amazing time I've had so far in Taiwan. Like people make a joke that you confuse Thailand and Taiwan, but I actually do it myself, so I shouldn't laugh too much. But actually, they're nothing alike. So I just arrived from Thailand before this, and boy, the first thing you notice is it's not the same rules that apply here. Here you can really get the feel of the nationalist past and the influence of the Japanese that have actually been ruling Taiwan for 50 years prior to the Second World War, where when they lost, they had to give up their right to Taiwan. But actually, they still occupy a couple of islands not so far from here. So I met this guy from England, from the UK, this weekend. We went partying. we went to a rave. But anyway, so he was in Japan, and like his flight was like shorter to come here than go back to Tokyo. So he just decided to come here instead. So yeah, that was a little bit of a side point. But anyway, you still get this mix of people. So we have the indigenous people that originated from Taiwan, and then we have the Japanese influenced people, and then we have the nationalist Chinese that came after they got defeated by the Communist Party in China. They had to flee, and the founder of Taipei, founder of Taiwan, I can't pronounce his name, but he prepared Taiwan as like a last resort for him to be able to escape the Communist Party. So he went here and he brought like 2 million soldiers with him when he came, and yeah, the people here, they were originally very happy to that he was coming, because they had just been under Japanese occupation, and you know the Japanese have like a real history of being brutal here. Like if you travel Southeast Asia, there are not many countries that are like, maybe now it's way different, but like the older generation, they won't be too happy about the Japanese, of course. But here it's quite a bit different, because here it seems like they were actually way more educated than the military people that came from when the founder came from China. And the problem was that there was clashes between the local Chinese people and the newly arrived, which really didn't care too much about the local population, because they didn't plan to stay here they plan to maybe relaunch, regroup, and maybe take back China. So they didn't really care about the locals to begin with, which created a lot of friction and clashes. But eventually, the people here, they decided to protest, like, because yeah, they were taking all the resources. They were cruel against the locals, and yeah, the locals couldn't sell tobacco, etc., etc. So they started protesting, but this didn't go very well for them, and they installed the martial law here for 40 years, which is actually one of the longest martial law of any country. So they're not very proud of that, but it has actually been surpassed by Syria, I think, now, which probably isn't so good. But yeah, so the Taiwanese people really have a long history of being under occupation. First it was the Dutch, then the French tried to come here, but they ultimately didn't succeed, and then the Chinese, the Japanese. So the people here, yeah, press the wrong button anyway, and mixes between different ethnicities. So yeah, they're still struggling a little bit to find a national identity. Although I have to say, yesterday or like this weekend, I think it was actually on Saturday, I went to the National Museum, and they are trying to piece together their history, but they are still unraveling documents and information about this dark martial law period, which is also one of the reasons why it's a little bit difficult to talk politics around here, because during this martial law period, there was a lot of disappearances related to politics. So if you were talking politics, then you might disappear. Now, of course, it's a very open democratic society, which you can really feel among the young. So I've been going out a lot, doing cultural exchange and language exchange, because I'm of course trying to learn some Chinese, which is advancing finally. Quite happy about that. I can almost do one conversation in the local 7-Eleven, so pretty proud about that one. Anyway, yeah, so I've been talking mostly to young local Taiwanese, but also some expats, of course. There are quite a few expats, especially here in Taipei. Maybe it won't be this many when I travel around the country. But yeah, I finally started to put my plans together, so I'm gonna do the whole island, and I'm gonna be probably about 2 weeks in the Penghu archipelago, which is located between Taiwan and the Chinese mainland. So I'm gonna go there by boat, but I really try to select the week where it's gonna be the most wind. And right now, it appears like within 1 week, it's gonna be a huge hurricane coming, like winds up to 50-60 knots. It's gonna be amazing. Let's see if I will do some windsurfing during the most windy part. Probably not, because I've never been above like 35 knots, probably. It's the highest I've been out. But maybe if I have the right gear and everything, I can go 35, 40 maybe. If I have like a small board and a really small sail, like a 4.0 or something, 3.7. We'll see what they got. But yeah, I'm really amazing. I finally decided to come here from Thailand. Like I was a bit mixed between staying in Thailand for another week and get some windsurfing done there. But the weather was really rainy, etc. So, and I had already booked my flight, which was like the biggest thing. So I was like, hey, let's just go. Like, of course, I had many amazing experience in Thailand, and I wish I would have stayed maybe 1 or 2 weeks even more, and I met some really amazing people, like when I was out dancing or or yeah, at the hostels. I met many interesting people at the hostels as well. And I have to say, here in Taiwan, the only problem with traveling here is like the housing crisis that they have. So it's quite, especially during the weekends, I feel like a lot of people are coming down into Taipei, and like all the accommodations get booked up. Especially now we're in the summer, so they have a holiday here as well. So like it's really hard to find good accommodation during the weekend. So you have to book in advance, which I didn't do, of course, because I usually book like the day before. But here you have to plan a little bit, ahead. But like the hostels are so clean and like very well thought out. Like it's not like in Thailand where it's like some shit thrown together that will cost you like €2 or like €5 per night. Here it's maybe you have to pay €15, but which is like, it's still lower than Europe, in Western Europe, because if you go, of course, in the Eastern Europe, you can get a lot cheaper. But yeah, it's still cheaper accommodations, but that's really the only expensive part about this trip, because like transport is really cheap and the food is super cheap, and like museums and activities are super cheap as well as drinking. I've been doing quite a lot of that this weekend, particularly, but yeah, it's really cheap. It's just the accommodations that you have to figure out. Yeah, but like if you stay in hostels, you can still keep the costs down, but it still takes like at least 40% of your budget, or something. For me, it does at least. But yeah, so here we are. This is my first impressions of Taiwan. But did you guys know? Because I know you guys, you're watching from Europe. Did you know you guys actually kicked out Taiwan from the UN, the United Nations? So Taiwan is actually not part of the UN anymore since 1980s, because you guys voted them out. So it's kind of your responsibility to get them back in. I'm just saying. Because I think like we have to reward the kind of path that they are going on, which is like very similar to the European style of governance. And like with Russia, for example, like even if they're going in a complete different direction, like they're getting more authoritarian, like we don't say anything. We keep them, we let them do whatever they want. But if a country actually wants to become more democratic, like here in Taiwan, super democratic, and like quite liberal, like they was the first country in Asia that allowed same-sex marriage, and yeah, they had like a first female president for like 2 consecutive terms. So it's really forward thinking country, and still we don't recognize it, because we only care, of course, about the money. We only care about, I don't know, we just we don't care about these people, whereas we should, they are actually the ones that we should care about, because they are the most like us in Europe and the US, of course. So yeah, that was my last few words. I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of a history lesson of Taiwan. And if you want to know more, I'll keep posting my vlogs. I'm gonna do the tour of Taiwan, so I'll probably do like a couple of more vlogs, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and see you in the next one.